Big developments in the Julian Assange case, looking like he might be coming back to the United States. Been a long battle to try to get him back here. U.S. government very angry with what he did to their intelligence agencies. Made him look like a bunch of fools and liars and evil people. And the Democrats are very unhappy with Mr. Assange as well because he made them look equal. He really is responsible for, in many of their eyes, wrecking Hillary Clinton's chances with the Wikileaks email scandal and that entire saga. They're blaming not themselves, of course, but everybody else for that problem. We don't get to bring this mind map up too often, largely because there's not a lot of activity in the case, but there was today. We're going to take a quick look at what happened with the UK Home Minister. Her name is Preeti Patel. And a new story came out from The Guardian, and we picked it up from the New York Times. And so we'll take a look at that, along with Julian's wife, Stella, her response, and WikiLeaks' response. And we'll see if he is actually going to be coming back here. I've got an update on the docket. We'll take a look at that, and we'll see. But quick update on sort of the overview on the case if you're just joining us. Remember, this case goes back a long, long time. Julian Assange has been in the crosshairs for a long time. I mean, before I was even really paying attention to this stuff. And he's been sort of on the run from the U.S. government, right? They really want to bring him back for being this terrorist person who was a nefarious actor. And in my opinion, my whole read of this has always been he's somebody who was receiving documents from leaky governments, from people doing bad things and republishing them. And, I've been somebody who, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, by the way. Our law firm is linked down in the description below. If you know anybody in the state of Arizona charged with a crime or a traffic violation, we'd love the opportunity to help, free case evaluations. But we, as part of our job, hold government accountable. We hold police accountable, prosecutors accountable, judges accountable. We demand the presumption of innocence, due process. We demand to know when people in positions of power are doing bad things to our clients. And Julian Assange was making a lot of this just publicly available to everybody. Here, take a look at what your elected leaders are doing. And it was disgusting for many of us who don't want to see or be a part of governments that are doing those things. And so as he was being prosecuted and sort of, running around the country, around the world, really trying to sort of escape jurisdiction after jurisdiction, he was living in the Ecuadorian embassy for a period of time. I mean, he's been suffering all sorts of humanitarian sort of crises, problems in terms of his human rights. And now apparently he's going to be coming back to the United States so that they can do whatever they're going to do to him. But let's take a look. Remember that his wife is Stella Morris. His fiance, his lawyer. I think they're married now. I think they had the marriage relatively recently. Julian Assange, the founder or one of the co-founders, whatever, I don't know what his official title is, of WikiLeaks. These are the people who are sort of on Team WikiLeaks. We've got his lawyer, defense attorney here in the United States, Barry Pollock. Kristen Rafson is editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks. Gordon Kromberg, one of the prosecutors who's prosecuting him. But this came out of the U.S. DOJ some time ago in June 2020. And I want to show you the court docket right now because there's really nothing there. This is it refreshed as of today. And you can see no activity. The last update is from June 24th, 2020. Why? Because Julian Assange is not here. He's over in the UK. And you can see the arrest warrant was issued back on June 24th, that very day. They had superseding indictments that we saw filed back in June 24th. But this case has been floating around, in the federal government. Sealed complaint originally got filed back December 21, 2017. And so that would have been 3 years before we even started thinking about doing topical stuff or following sort of public interest cases here. So it's just sort of been, on hiatus status, on warrant status, because Julian Assange has not been in the jurisdiction of the federal government, but it's looking like he might very well be coming back to the United States because of this decision by this woman. And her name is Preeti Patel. And this article, well, I had a couple things from her. So a little bit about her from Wikipedia. Preeti Patel, 1972, British politician, Conservative Party, member of Parliament since 2010, born in London, inspired to get involved by Margaret Thatcher, was a part of the referendum party for a period of time, Nottingham, elected MP with them, 2015, and she is somebody who attracted attention for socially conservative stances, right? That's from Wikipedia, and you can see a little background there. What else do we have from her? Oh, I found this when I was searching for her on Twitter. It says Home Secretary, was advisor to HUS. And so interesting graphics sort of spreading around about how all of this ties together. But the story, of course, comes in today on June 17, 2022, say extradition approved by her. Britain's Home Secretary approved the order. And so now we have Assange and his team, of course, are going to be appealing this. But the New York Times does tell us that that has happened. British government approved the extradition order. He's the embattled WikiLeaks founder, confirming a decision that he can be sent to the United States to stand trial on that case that I just referenced, right? The warrant exists. As soon as the UK law enforcement agents hand him over to the U.S. government, they're going to say, oh, we got a warrant here. We want him. Can you give him to us, please? They'll quash that warrant. They'll remand him back into custody over there out of the Eastern District of Virginia, or the U.S. attorneys, the U.S. Marshals there. It says, while the order is a blow for Mr. Assange, whose case is seen by rights groups as a potential challenge to press freedom, right? What happens if somebody leaks something to the New York Times and they publish it? Do they go and indict them for espionage? He's expected to appeal the decision, and the government said he had 14 days to do so. Home Office, in a statement, pointed to a British court ruling that did not find, quote, that it would be oppressive, unjust, or an abusive process to extradite Assange. And we talked about that case previously, the last time we opened this mind map up. That was here, right? UK High Court granted that extradition approval, and we didn't get a lot of meat on it. It was just sort of actually, this was a lot of meat. Yeah, I think we covered this. What did I clip here? We covered that, I think, in a previous video, but they explained it. And so it looks like they were just, the Home Minister was relying on that order as justification for it. And they went through saying, basically it sounds like they're standard. And look, I'm not licensed in Britain. All right. So I'm not sure, how all their parliaments and queens and all of this stuff works, but they went through. They had a standard essentially saying that if the United States, if they're going to abuse him, if it's going to be a harmful, abusive process, then maybe it's not a good idea to send them over. So they went through their analysis. They said that it did not find that it would be oppressive, unjust, or an abusive process, saying the court did not find that extradition would be incompatible with his human rights, including his right to a fair trial and to freedom of expression, and that while in the U.S., he's going to be treated appropriately, right, including in relation to his health. And so, it just depends on who you want to talk to about that and their perspective and their take on how our justice system treats people. If, like, for example, if you were talking to somebody who was charged with a January 6th crime, who's been thrown in solitary confinement, you might say, depending on your political disposition, that's well-deserved. And that's perfectly compatible with human rights, right? And that's all reasonable. You might be that person. I don't know. I'm not. I don't think that at all. I think that it is incompatible with human rights, how we treat people in our prisons, our jails, how we treat the J6ers, or how we treat anybody, BLMers too. But I said that at the time also, right? I think that the justice system is way too punitive rather than being rehabilitative, and it should be something that aims to restore people, not aims to be a tool of retribution to punish people, especially when the people are speaking truth to power and doing things that expose other nefarious misdeeds, other conflicts of interest, other humanitarian bad actors within our own government. I don't know why those people aren't celebrated as heroes. I'd like to see more of them, actually. Anyway, so they went through their analysis and they said, no, he's going to be fine. Just send him right back there. He's just going to be thrown, right? I mean, look, compare it to the J6ers. I think that's probably the closest comparison that you might get here. I mean, remember, as I said at the outset of this video, the prospect of Julian Assange coming back is going to make Democrats salivate. Many of them, not all of them, because they're very angry at him for what he did to Hillary Clinton. And they're also very angry at the J6ers. And so we've seen them use the DOJ and the FBI and the IRS and many other government institutions to prosecute their political enemies. Julian Assange is at the top of that list. So, the UK sitting there and saying, well, no, it's going to be perfectly fine over there. Long history and track record of treating disfavored political dissidents well. Just look at all the solitary confinement taking place in the J6 cases. Look at all the discovery drawn out. I would, You can't say they're officially discovery violations, but they're sort of close to that. I mean, there's tens of thousands of hours that they haven't released, and we covered it on our channel largely because they're chronicling the evidence and they're compiling all the videos together in a cohesive, comprehensive discovery system that all the defense attorneys can use. And it's like, guys, almost 800 cases. Okay, I'm going off on a tirade, but you can see Home Office said in a statement, not a problem. We're going to send him over there. Barry Polak, a lawyer for Mr. Assange, said the decision is going to be appealed. The approval of the order by Priti Patel, Home Secretary, is just the latest turn, long-running court extradition battle that started back in April. Home Office said that if Assange wishes to fight his extradition, next legal step going to be to apply to the High Court for permission to appeal against the decisions of both a district judge and Mr. Patel to order it. We know he was charged with violating the Espionage Act, publishing classified documents about wars in Afghanistan to Wikileaks, right? It says we're going to fight this. And so I have a couple of those clips over from Wikileaks. We'll just go right to the source. British MPs are not happy about it. Wikileaks put their response out. This is what they published on Twitter. Breaking that it says WikiLeaks publisher, extradition approved, going to the U.S. He's going to face a 175-year sentence. A dark day for press freedom and for British democracy. The decision will be appealed. That was from WikiLeaks on Twitter, and they actually posted this full response. It says, this is a dark day for press freedom and for British democracy. Anyone in this country who cares about freedom of expression should be deeply ashamed that the Home Secretary has approved the extradition of Julian Assange to the United States, the country that plotted his assassination. Julian did nothing wrong. He has committed no crime and is not a criminal. He's a journalist and a publisher, and he is being punished for doing his job. It was in Priti Patel's power to do the right thing. Instead, she will forever be remembered as an accomplice of the United States in its agenda to turn investigative journalism into a criminal enterprise. Says foreign laws now determine the limits of press freedom in this country, and the journalism that won the industry's most prestigious prizes has been deemed an extraditable offense and worthy of a life sentence. The path to Julian's freedom is long and tortuous. Today is not the end of the fight. It is only the beginning of a new legal battle. We will appeal through the legal system. The next appeal will be before the High Court, which I don't practice there, but it may be the same court that already issued that ruling. I don't know. We will fight louder and shout harder on the streets. We will organize and we will make Julian's story be known to all. Make no mistake, this has always been a political case. Julian published evidence that the country trying to extradite him committed war crimes and covered them up, tortured and rendered, bribed foreign officials, and corrupted judicial inquiries into U.S. wrongdoing. Their revenge is to try to disappear him into the darkest recess of their prison system for the rest of his life to deter others from holding governments to account. We will not let that happen. Julian's freedom is coupled to all our freedoms. We will fight to return Julian to his family and to regain freedom of expression for us all. That's from WikiLeaks. Stella, of course, has her response as well. And she posted this today. She was actually speaking with her lawyer. This is about 1:28. Let's listen.
Thank you for...
Hang on one sec. I got to switch the audio on this so I can make sure you hear it.
Coming on short notice. I'm sure you all understand the extremely serious implications this has for all of you and the profession and for human rights and for Julian personally. I spoke to Julian about 45 minutes ago. He had just learned of the decision. He was not contactable in Belmarsh, so no one had been able to deliver the decision to him until he had spoken to one of his lawyers just before speaking to me. This was always a possibility that Priti Patel would approve sending Julian to the country that has plotted to assassinate him, to the country that Julian exposed the crimes of. And we're not at the end of the road here. We're going to fight this. We're going to use every appeal avenue. And we're going to fight. I'm going to spend every waking hour fighting for Julian until he's free, until justice is served.
All right, and so that was Stella Assange, and I do believe they're married now. And there's other stories coming out, and I don't know how true they are. That Julian is not well mentally. He's got this news. He sort of sees what's coming, and he's sort of having thoughts. And so thoughts and prayers out for him, his family. Stella, I know they've got children, and so it's a difficult situation. And sounds like, again, I don't practice UK law, but it might be a foregone conclusion that he does come back to the United States. The United States really wants him. They've wanted him for a long, long, long time. And if he does come back, it's just going to land right back in the federal court, which is, of course, out of the Eastern District of Virginia, because a lot of this stuff took place sort of, in that intelligence agency hub. This arrest warrant was issued some time ago, so the warrant will come back out. He will be, the warrant will be quashed if the United States does end up getting their hands on him. And the case will just progress like any other criminal case that we've covered here. We've covered a lot of them. Michael Sussman, the GM case, many other federal trials. And it's a slow process. And, it's something that will be extremely taxing, and it will, expose a lot. I'm sure of it, but it's going to be something that will require a lot of, emotional capital from Julian and his family. And so, they may be in for a long haul. So thoughts and prayers out to Julian and to everybody on the Wikileaks team. I'm sure they're all having a bad day. So we'll continue to send them your way. That is it for me on the Julian case. We'll continue to follow this one along. I hope you join us on the journey. This mind map, it's sort of the start of this. The possibility that he comes back means that this case may become a lot more active, and we'll end up learning a lot more about what the U.S. government has on him and what they intend to do about it and what they're seeking. And, the political winds may shift here in the United States pretty strongly. And so we will follow it. This mind map may continue to grow. I hope you join us on that journey. If you're looking for a little additional content, we also really thank our members who join up. We're putting out more additional content for members, whether you join on Locals at watchingthewatchers.locals.com, whether you connect with us on YouTube. Hopefully you get a little bit more value out of some of the morning headlines and walking around and some of the behind the scenes stuff. And it's a great way to support the show, because a lot of my content just is automatically demonetized until I appeal it. And it's not showing up in YouTube. So you get the complexities of this space, and I appreciate your support any way you do it, even if it means just leaving a like before you get out of here. I love it if you subscribe so you can continue to follow this case as we do. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.